has a brand new unicorn, and it is Meesho. Meesho has been pioneering social commerce in the country. It's already got 45 million plus customers. It's a big day for Meesho. SoftBank Vision Fund is the new investor in Meesho. In the newest round, Meesho has raised $300 million. Existing investors have also participated. What's really interesting is that Meesho's valuation has almost trebled. It was a Soonicorn, so from about $700 million, it's almost trebled to $2.1 billion. I've got the man of the hour, Vidit Atre, the founder CEO of Meesho, right here on ET Now. Vidit, a big congratulations. You know, your valuation has trebled. It has skyrocketed from about $700 million to $2.1 billion. It's literally like you've hop, skipped and jumped the in-between territory of becoming a unicorn, the $1 to $2 billion range. How does it feel?
First of all, thank you so much, Nayantara, for the kind words you just said. I think for us, it's a big milestone, and not just for me, for the shareholders, but the entire team. I think to some extent, this is always a big validation for the kind of impact the entire team has been making. And last 12 months has been a ride for everyone, right? So all of us, especially in the e-commerce domain, went bottom when non-essential wasn't allowed during the lockdown. But the recovery since then, all the amount of effort, the kind of innovation the team did for the last 12 months to first come back to the old levels, and then since then, growing at a very rapid pace. I think this whole milestone belongs to the team for everything that people did together. So this is big for us, and this is also a big vote of confidence where we've got a reputed investor like SoftBank to come on our cap table with a large check, which essentially shows how bullish they are about our vision, about our story, and also our existing investors like Naspers, which is now Process, Facebook, and other investors have also kind of doubled down on the company. I think this is a very strong vote of confidence into everything that we are doing as a company, and we are obviously proud about it.
Now, with it, of course, you're talking about a cap table. You've got SoftBank Vision Fund, which is entering the cap table. Existing investors have also participated, like you talked about Facebook, as well as Process. In fact, Meesho was the first investment that Facebook made in India. But I've got to ask you that one question. In the press release today, you're also talking about how the existing investor, Shunwai Capital, has participated. I think it's well documented what's been happening with startups and Chinese investors. In fact, you've seen Shunwai Capital even get exits from other startups. What was the reason behind this move of keeping Shunwai as part of the cap table and letting them participate in the round?
I think all existing investors have participated. They participated because all of them have the pro rata rights into a company, which is quite normal, right? So in all tech companies that you see at different stages, existing investors tend to keep their holding, which is that strong vote of confidence that they want to retain that holding because they really believe that the growth story of the company, the real value still is ahead of the company. So I think for us, it's just a very positive sign. All of the existing investors have doubled down and put some money. In terms of Chinese or non-Chinese, I think everything that we have done has been in compliance with the law. So I don't think there's any other point around it. All of our investors, Facebook, Naspers, Shunwai, all of these guys have done it because they really believe that what the company is doing can really become a very impactful company for the country in the long run.
Vidit Atre, your valuations have zoomed past during the pandemic year. You have come on the channel before to talk about the various innovations you did during the lockdown. Your big announcement is also coinciding with the lockdown that has been announced in Maharashtra. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? We are in the midst of a second wave. How prepared is Meesho?
I think like most companies, everyone now has a playbook around how to manage a COVID lockdown. Last year, since it was so unprecedented, no one knew what to do, and all of us like tried 10 things, out of which most did not work, few things work well. This time we definitely have a playbook from the last year. We will work towards safeguarding the incomes of our entrepreneurs. We will figure out like plan B, C in terms of a supply chain. We'll figure out a way to work with some of our suppliers to make sure they can continue their business. So our team is very well in touch with all of these guys on the ground, making sure that we have the right plans in place, assuming some of these things start to happen. And if you ask me, even the last year, like even when lockdowns lifted, they lifted in stages. There used to be different types of zones. So the team managed all of that. So I don't think we will be as unprepared as everyone was as compared to what it was last year. It should be manageable, but I'll obviously, I'll obviously think that hey, at the end of the day, doing lockdowns and some of this is going to impact the economy a lot. So I hope that we're able to kind of figure out a solution to the second wave sooner. Maybe faster rate of vaccination is the answer, maybe something else. But I think we'll have to figure out an answer pretty quickly, because even last year, all of us saw that the economic impact of lockdowns were very, very strong. So I'm hoping that this time we don't have to take such drastic measures across the country.
Vidit, you used the phrase playbook talking to me right now. So I want to now talk to you about your success story. It's a very big day for Meesho. You zoom past from $700 million to $2 billion. You've got marquee investors at the cap table. What has been, it's a very generic question, but what has worked for Meesho? What has been the mantra for success, the playbook for success?
I think our playbook is very, very simple. We've always been a very user focused company. And let me kind of take some time to explain what that means. If you see a lot of companies in India before us, when they were building in the first wave, figured out some models that they could see in the West or in the East and built Indian versions of it. In our case, we went on the ground to understand what Indian specific problems certain small businesses face, and we solved them like purely from first principle thinking by enabling the right technology, the right policy, the right platform to come to these small businesses. So I think there's certain core things or core fundamentals to how we've approached everything. As a company, we've been very, very strong in first principle thinking. Building a team that is really strong with that DNA has been very important. We've been a very like user focused company. We've always been very close to our users, which are not the kind of users a lot of other companies are serving. We've always been very focused on the kind of culture we build that enables and encourages the kind of things I'm talking about, right? And we've been a very tech first company. If you look at the kind of team size we have to the kind of scale of the business, I think we would be one of the most like capital efficient as well as the leaner teams out there, because we've tried to solve problems by putting technology into it rather than throwing people at the problem. So I'm saying these are some of the fundamentals of how we have approached everything that we have over the last few years. And I believe that has helped us really like innovate on a lot of things, be it the business model, be it the product, be it the kind of go-to market we build to our user base. And all of that has come together to make it happen.
You have been so vociferous also about wanting to use Meesho for empowering women, making them entrepreneurs. Will that stay core to your vision going forward?
So when I talk about small businesses, when we started up like 5 years ago, we realized that women running fashion boutiques in the offline world was one of the biggest small business format in the country. Like almost all of fashion and lifestyle in the unbranded segment focused on women was sold through this channel. We said, unless we solve this, it's very hard we'll make a big dent to this particular problem statement. And fortunately, we created a platform where all of these women entrepreneurs, and today we have 13 million of them, could come online, start their shops on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, where the existing community was there, and they could start to like run these shops and become successful. And this was like the first small business format we went after. And I think so far we've done a good job. Going forward, we'll start to pick out other kinds of small business formats, be it in categories such as grocery. And we've been doing a lot of work around it and getting a lot of success there. We will work towards other kind of small business format. But our focus is like to essentially empower all of these small businesses. Our vision, if we if you see at our vision statement is to enable 100 million small businesses to succeed online. And for that, we'll have to kind of go across the spectrum and take a very targeted way of solving these problems for different target groups.
Okay, so as you grow, you of course have to grow your vision as well, and that's what you're doing. I started off, like you said, about the offline women boutique stores. You're experimenting with grocery. Give us a sneak peek. What else is on the anvil?
No, I think groceries is one of those things which is very, very exciting and inspiring to everyone inside, because um, the potential scale, the number of small businesses that you can impact if we really make a dent to that problem is maybe even larger than what we have done with our current format. So I think that's going to be something where we invest a lot of money. And otherwise, then we have a lot of experiments, more in the early stages. I don't think at a stage where we can go out and share them, but we keep trying. Like we keep trying different categories. We tend to say, hey, what else can we enable? How can we enable more kind of small businesses to come online? So that's the journey we are on. But I would say like groceries, one of those newer categories where we are focused a lot on, and hopefully this year we'll kind of get it to a larger scale.
Now, Vidit, you've always had overseas ambitions as well. They were, something you were working on so closely before the pandemic. You've now got another global giant at the cap table, SoftBank Vision Fund. How are those plans panning out?
So our focus for the next couple of years is going to be very much on India. So one of our biggest discoveries over the last 12 months has been that the Indian market is much, much deeper than what we thought. So 1.5 years ago, we thought that, hey, let's kind of do international, take what we have done in India, take it to other emerging markets, which show very similar behavior. But over the last 12 months, we've grown much, much faster than we expected. And taking some of those learnings from there, I think we have decided to just focus a lot on India, like grow deeper into different geographies, more towns, more cities, more TGs, different categories. But that's where our focus is going to be. I don't think for the next couple of years, at least, we're gonna go and think beyond India. But maybe after that we will. But for the next few years, India is very large, and we really want to kind of like focus everything, be it resources, be it bandwidth, everything possible just on India, and like make our India business very large.
And with it, there is a flavor of the season where you're seeing unicorns, startups wanting to IPO. Is that something that Meesho is looking at this juncture?
So IPO, I think, is a dream for all entrepreneurs. I don't think anyone ever starts a company thinking that they will sell it to someone. So we definitely have this dream, but we don't have a timeline to it yet. We still believe that there's a lot of our growth journey which is well ahead of us, and we have taken a very large vision and ambition and goal forward. So we're going to focus on growth at least for the next couple of years, and after that maybe reevaluate what's the right time to do an IPO. But I don't think we have a plan around it at this particular moment.
When I see your press release, and you were talking to me about your vision statement, which is to enable and help 100 million plus small businesses come on board and help them succeed, what's the timeline that you've given to your team? I was a bit curious about that.
We don't have a timeline, by the way. I don't think time matters as much as this particular goal. And I think all of us will discover, like for us, if we know how to get to 100 million today and by when, that means it's not a tough enough problem for us to take, right? And I don't think it's going to be as easy where we can today figure out these are the 10 things to solve to make that happen, and we can solve these 10 things in X amount of time, and that's how we know, right? I think this is a very ambitious goal. I don't think anyone has, in any geography across the world, has done something even close to it. So very ambitious, something that really inspires us. We will have to kind of figure out. So we don't have a timeline in mind, but we know that we have to get to this because this is the goal that excites and inspires everyone in the company.
Before I let you go with it, you are one of those people who is a living example of teaching us you can never dream too big. You've raised past a valuation of $2 billion. You're vying for a market along with giants like Mukesh Ambani's Jio, like Amazon, or even Walmart's backed Flipkart. So, you're competing with them. How do you not get intimidated? How did you, I just want to know how you figured it all out and how you became a competitor to all of them.
Because I don't think we have ever thought about it. I don't think we started this company saying, hey, we are competing with someone. And I don't even know if we compete with them, by the way. Like, we've been very, very focused on our user base. So basically, we go out and say, hey, these are the small businesses. It's been 15 years since e-commerce started in India. All of these small businesses are still primarily offline. So there's structurally a lot of problem that no one has solved. And then we go and from very first principle lens, try to go and solve these problems. And we believe we kind of make that happen. And these small businesses come online, and the small business economy, which is the largest contributor to the economy in the offline world, like 90% plus of all commerce in the offline world happen through
It's the
small
backbone.
businesses like mom and pop stores. So all of that is happening in the offline world through small businesses. But as soon as you go in the online world, you see mostly the larger guys, the brands selling products to customers, not the smaller businesses. So it's a big dichotomy. And there's structural reasons that that dichotomy exists. So our focus has been like, how do we structurally solve these problems, make these small businesses find it easier to come online and become successful? And we just focus on that. And I don't think anyone has been focusing on small businesses as much as we are doing it, right? Everyone has been focusing on like different categories, different types of customers, different types of sellers. So to be very frank, we have never thought about the competitive landscape to decide whether we should get intimidated or not. What inspires us is like solving a large enough problem for our user base. What inspires us is like making that kind of impact to the small business economy. And me and my co-founder, both of us come from lower middle class background, and we've always bought everything for smaller businesses. So seeing them become successful really gives us that particular high that we work for, right? Like that's very important. We relate with them, we relate with the STG. So for us, this is important. This is what inspires us. I don't think it's about competition or who else is doing something like this.
So, for all the young entrepreneurs who are tuning in, or the ones who want to become entrepreneurs, and times are bad. Now, 5 years ago, what also worked for you was the economy was picking up, there was no pandemic, there was some more certainty than we have today, right? Any piece of advice that you would want to give them as we come to an end of this interview?
I think some of those advice is generally timeless, right? So be it pandemic, not pandemic, it doesn't matter. I would say that people should come and do something like this just because they really feel very strongly about it. They really feel passionate about this. Pick a problem, stick with this for the long run, do it from first principles, do not see what has been done before. Like anything that you try to do which is bold, like most people believe will not happen, right? So it's very important that you have that one specific ability that most good entrepreneurs have, which is perseverance, right? So if you have that will, you have that perseverance, I think most people figure it out. Another thing that I say is a unique opportunity that people have today because of pandemic, because some of the other tailwinds. The potential TAM of most internet businesses have become much larger because everyone wants to come online considering offline is affected. So today, the potential market sizes for all particular potential business ideas is much, much larger than what it was 5 years ago. Like, to be very frank, we didn't even imagine we could build a company of this size in 5 years ago, right? Our goals back then was much more conservative. But things have changed now, and that is a unique opportunity that some of these newer entrepreneurs have. So I would ask people to kind of grab it with all hands, jump in, pick something unique, go on the ground, meet the users, right? Do it from first principles and stick with it. And I think if you do it for quite some time, you will eventually figure out something that will really create value. But do it to a problem that you feel passionate about. Otherwise, most people burn out, right? Like if you're just doing it to make money or to make something large irrespective of the problem, you'll just not stick with it for long enough. So that's a simple advice I have.
And with that, Vidit, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out on your big day. We really appreciate it. A big congratulations to you and the entire Meesho team.
Thank you. Thanks, Nayantara. Take care.